So what's brought you out today?
Oh, we are here to demonstrate against what's happening in the Congo. Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, is in control of the east part of our country. So he's got his stooges, who are the M23. So those are the rebels that basically Kagame has formatted to do the dirty job in the Congo. So they just basically killing and destroying and try to conquer land, especially on the east side. Now they've already walked over Goma. Over 3,000 people have killed, on top of over 8 million people who have already died because of that. The resources that we have on that side of on the part of that of our country.
I'm hearing a lot of people tying it to the Rwandan genocide and things like that. How's it tied to the Rwandan genocide?
Well, the Rwandan genocide is a fact. It happened in 1994. There was a genocide in Rwanda. So what happened is the people in power, the FDLR, the government of Rwanda at the time, when they committed this genocide, killing of the Tutsis, almost 1 million people died in Rwanda. So when they run to our country. Over 2 million people came to our country. And they took with them everything, the banks, the money, the weapons, all of them came to our country. And the Rwanda's army, the Paul Kagame's Front Patriotic Rwanda, they followed them, purchased them, basically they went after them and they conquered our land and they helped change the regime that we had at the time, the Mobutu's regime. So they were running Congo for a time, for between 97 and 98. The chief of staff of our country was a guy called General James Kabarebe, who was a Rwandan citizen, because he's the only person that became chief of staff in DRC and also in Rwanda after a while. You understand? So basically, this is what happened. Over 2 million people went to our country. The Rwanda's army followed them. And now they're claiming that we are killing Tutsi people. And they are trying to protect those Tutsi people. And that's why they're going to our country, which is a lie, because like I said, between 97 and 98, they were running our country. They have a vice president who was a Banyamulange person, and they also have a chief of army, chief of staff, who was James Kabarebe. So that alone tells you that these people, they had the situation, in their hands, but they couldn't fix that issue. So the issue is not the Tutsi or the Rwanda, because Congo has 9 neighbors. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we got 9 neighbors. Now, from all the 9 neighbors, we only have 1 neighbor that we have an issue with. So that alone can tell you that there's a bigger problem under that. It's not just about people, but it's the coltan. I don't know if you know anything about the coltan. It's what they use for mobile phones, computers, tablets, and so on and so forth, iPhones. So basically, those minerals are in the Congo. And the Rwanda government have signed a contract with the European Union to trade those resources. And Rwanda does not have those the coltan, the gold. They don't have it. But all of a sudden, they are producing that in their country. So basically, they're getting it from our country and they trade it. So it's like basically they're destroying our country in order to get the resources. So this isn't about people. This is about getting the resources of Congo. And we are basically dying because of what God gave us.
Is it cobalt, the material used to make electric batteries and things like that?
Exactly.
I don't know whether it happens in the Congo, but I'm hearing stories about child labour and breaches of human rights. Is that something that happens in the Congo as well?
Of course, it's happening because these people, you know, when the rebels are running the country or they're running the east part of our country, so basically you've got child labor and you also have the forest that is in danger because our forest is the lungs of humanity at the moment. And they are destroying the forest because those soldiers, those rebels, they're making, because they're chasing people, they're displacing people. So people are going to the forest and they're going to, when they go to the forest, they're going to use woods, they're going to use also, they're going to kill animals. So basically, they're just, the ecosystem is getting messed up because of the war that they're imposing on our people.
Do you have any personal ties to the Congo, like family that are still there, or have you came from there?
Yes, I came from Congo. I've still got my parents, my siblings. Basically, my heart is over there. Do you know what I mean? God blessed me to be in this country, and I'm grateful. But Congo is where my heart is. Do you understand? So when Congo is bleeding, I'm bleeding. And to be honest, when Congo is bleeding, we're all bleeding because at the end of the day, we are all humans. Do you know what I mean? If one of us is bleeding, we are all suffering. So we need to come together and end the war in Congo because what's happening in Congo can happen anywhere. Because like Russia went for Ukraine, and if we allow Russia to get whatever they want, what's next? What if they want this country? What if they want Lithuania or they want, God knows, another country? What's going to happen? Same thing in World War II when Churchill went against the German, but the previous prime minister, he was happy to sign a document with Hitler that he wasn't going to attack Great Britain. But in the end, Hitler was not just happy with what he was given. They gave him Slovakia, but he wasn't happy. He wanted more. He wanted more. Same thing with Kagame. He wants more. He wants to be the king of Africa. And he's going after Congo. And before you know it, this is going to come here because, like I said about Congo's forest being the lung of the world, is one of the biggest forests in the world right now. If they're destroying that forest, it's going to affect all of us. So nobody is spared. White, yellow, whatever. This isn't about race. This isn't about Tutsi or Hutus or Congolese. No, this isn't about that. Because like I said, we got 9 neighbors and we're always going to be neighbors no matter what. Me and you, we're going to pass, but we're still going to remain neighbors. Same thing, you have Wales, you have Scotland, or you have Ireland. You're always going to be together, whether you like it or not. They're always going to be there. So you might as well just get along and share whatever land or whatever world that we have. Do you know what I mean? We can share, we can do business, but the killing got to stop. There's no need for the killing.
And I think, sorry, as Fred is just talking about the reaction, so the international reaction. So he just mentioned Ukraine, and I think I just want to add about that kind of unfair reaction. If you've noticed, in the case of Ukraine, so we've seen that massive reaction, especially from Europe. But when it comes to Congo, I just want to underline that the word is just indifferent, and that's the point we're trying to make here today, trying to have a voice in the debate. Because when it comes to Congo, they're killing, and it's been ongoing. Freddie's just given a very good detailed account of what happened, but it's just the silence of the words. Nobody cares about people. We've got some image there about kids. We're gonna move there very soon. You just ask about child labor, but it's even worse than that. It's sexual abuse of young people, young girls as age as 2 years old, and it's just we just can't understand why the word is so silent. When it's Ukraine, everyone fight for Ukraine. But what about the Congo? Are we subhuman or are we full human beings? That's what we hear today.
And what action do you want to see from the UK government, and what role do they play within the Congo?
They should get involved. Fred has been very clear, and there's quite a lot of reports. It's been evidenced by the UN people on the ground that Rwanda is involved. Let's be clear. And unfortunately, you're going to have some on the other side. It's a very comic kind of game they're playing here. Rwanda and the UK and most of the global south countries are kind of involved in the game because they're getting our coltan and so on. But then at the same time, they're crying and shouting about human rights. So we would like the UK, this part of the globe, to take strong actions against Rwanda, the same way they're taking actions against Russia.
So would that be something like supplying military aid, or is it more diplomatic involvement?
Normally, and that's what we're doing here today, we're number one for diplomatic, peaceful kind of action. So diplomatic will be the very first thing. But if there's nothing else to do, just the same way they're doing in Ukraine, military action should be considered.
To what extent would you say is allowable for military action?
Right, let's say, to be honest, it's been evidence that those so-called M23 are definitely not alone, because the weapon they've got, nobody can stop them. It's a bit funny that you've got the biggest UN peacekeeping missions in the Congo. They've been there for decades. Unfortunately, especially in the eastern part of the Congo, the war is never ending. How do you explain that? And even the UN peacekeeping soldiers run away because they say those on the other side, so M23, backed by Rwanda, are too strong military. So we definitely need something strong coming from outside to try and stop this, unless, and this looks more like it's a global kind of plot against the DRC. And all of that is all about interest, sadly. Sadly.
Would you support the UK government having a refugee scheme similar to the one that we have for Ukrainians?
Yes, please, obviously, because it's very easy to check on Google. If you just look at the humanitarian crisis, it's just unbearable, unacceptable. So the level of poverty is even worse than Gaza to some extent. But look at the reaction in Gaza. So we definitely need the UK, not only the UK, but all countries to put in a strong reactional action in terms of refugee support. Yeah, in Goma especially, and now in Bukavu, all the eastern part, border with Rwanda, Burundi, and so on. It's been ongoing for years, and the crisis is just, I can't describe it. Yeah, we're in tears, so yeah.
And with the Ukraine scheme, there's part of it where you're allowed to welcome people into your home. Do you think that's something the Congo community within England would embrace?
Yes, of course, because those people are still dying out there, and there's nothing like even those basics such as shelters, where to live, food, and so on. If the UK would do something similar, we would be so grateful. So bringing them over here, the same way they've done for Ukrainians and so on. So definitely that's something that if the British would consider, we'd be really grateful. Yeah.
And anything else you want to add?
Maybe Freddie, trying to add anything?
About the UK, the best thing they can do is they have to stop supplying Kagame with weapons.
Yeah.
I think that's the first thing, because he's the bully. Well, Kagame is the bully, all right? So if you supply the bully with weapons, he's just gonna keep on doing whatever he's doing. So first thing, they need to stop supplying, because you gotta understand, Kagame joined the Commonwealth. He made a deal with the Tories, before Labour took over. He made the deal with the Tories to basically take refugees from the UK to go to Rwanda. Do you understand? So they know exactly who Kagame is. They know. So this is not new. This is fact. They know. So they need to stop Kagame. They need to stop supplying with weapons, because what we need right now is we need a ceasefire. We need the guns to stop, so that we can live in peace and we can lick our wounds and see what we can do for ourselves. Do you understand? Because it's been going on for over 30 years now. It's just been devastating for our people. Millions of people have been displaced. Like I said, people are living in the forest. So they're putting everything in the ecosystem. Everything is in jeopardy now. So it needs to stop. So that's what I can say. But as long as bringing refugees and bringing people here, first thing is to stop. I can understand people who are wounded, the children who need medical attention, you know, things like that. Yes, I can understand that. But first thing first, stop supplying Kagame with weapons. And also stop buying minerals from Rwanda because they don't have any. We shouldn't, Europe should not buy resources, minerals from Rwanda. They don't have gold, they don't have coltan, they don't have cobalt, they don't have it. So how can you buy from them? So those are blood cobalt. Those are blood diamonds. They're coming from our blood. So Europe should stop buying those stuff. If you want to make a deal, come to the door. We will deal with you. Do you know what I mean? But don't go through the windows, killing people's children. It's just not helping. Do you understand? So I think that's all I can add in there. Thank you very much for your support.